It's your host, Travis Partington with Oscar Mike Radio, number 222 in 2021, January. And I got a special guest, another veteran who has, done some amazing things. Judy Skilling, who is a business coach, joins me. Judy, welcome to Oscar Mike Radio.
Hi, Travis. It's a pleasure to be here. So thank you so much for having me and having this opportunity to talk to you. I'm excited.
This is great. This is great. I really like, talking to people like yourself. And you might be, wondering, folks, why am I so excited? It's because like Heather Hargrove and others, Judy does coaching. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really going to dive into some of the coaching aspects of how she does things for the people she serves. But first, why don't you tell us a little bit about your military background? Your background is who Judy is.
Yeah. So as you mentioned before, Navy veteran. I served for 7 years. And I was a hospital corpsman for 7 years, and
okay. I've had two corpsmen on this show, and I've asked them the same question. So I'm going to ask you the same question. Sorry,
I think you might have asked me this question at one of our meetings.
Well, I got to have it for the record. For the record.
Ask me again. Motrin, I think this is the question you have to ask me.
All right. But still, you got to humor me here. I hate going to the doctor. To the doctor. But I've been told the key from boot camp, we were told the key to long life, health, and happiness is a bottle of Motrin on standby, clean socks, and a gallon of water a day. Those three things, if you drink a gallon of water a day, change your socks daily, and have, a bottle with 1,000 milligram, the 1,000 milligram pack of Motrin, as part of your, kit. When you're in pain, you will live a happy, healthy life. Is that the truth?
I can't reveal any Navy secrets at this moment. I'm just kidding. I think, I think just how everybody's so young and, vitally alive, I guess, in the military. Motrin seems to be like the cure-all for anything. But obviously, if you take too much Motrin, that kind of leads into like the GI issues and things like that too. But somehow, some way, miracles happen, and Motrin is probably one of those cure-alls. But water and Motrin, yeah.
Well, I drink water, I change my socks, I have Motrin, I never take it. So if I'm doing all those things, I don't have to go to the doctor for my annual physical, right? I can just ignore that.
I can't confirm or deny that because I'm not your medical professional.
Wow. See, Sarah Fawcett, that was a bit more emphatic, but okay. So you had to did you work on Marines?
Yes, I was deployed during Operation Enduring Freedom and Iraqi Freedom.
So you know what it's like dealing with guys like me who hate shots and stuff.
Oh man, let me tell you. The first person I drew blood on actually passed out in front of me. Like, this is in boot camp and training school, and this was like a Navy recruit, and they just went limp, slid right out of the chair, and I freaked out, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. But it wasn't a Marine. But yes, Marines. My experience when we had to draw blood or give shots, immunizations and things like that too. They are sensitive to
yes, the struggle is real.
To needles. Yeah.
Jump out of a plane, jump in a freaking ocean, but I mean, so you do that for 7 years, and you're kind of like fixer owies, and try to keep us, on the right track, and 7 years. So did you get out of staff NCO or was
I got out as an E5. So I advanced in 4 years, which is really good for a corpsman. I ranked advanced in 4 years to E5.
Oh, nice.
And which was really great. And dual warfare, surface warfare, air warfare, things like that too. The reason why I got out was because I wanted to go to nursing school, and I wanted to become an officer because I love the medical field. And I tried different programs to try to become an officer, and it just wasn't happening for me. So I took that as like, I get it, higher power, God, whatever. This probably isn't the next path for my life. So that's why I had gotten out. So I got out to go to nursing school, and applied to nursing school in Texas, and got my bachelor's in nursing in San Antonio. So, and that then started the next phase of my life, where I became a ER emergency room nurse
No kidding.
for 9
My
years.
sister's an ER nurse.
Oh, it's it's not for everybody, but I loved it,
Awesome,
So
awesome. So
yeah.
you start off in the Navy in the medical field and use that experience to become a nurse. Now, and did you go back in the Navy as an officer?
No, at the time, after I graduated and got my bachelor's, I met a guy and decided to build my life with him and didn't revisit. I mean, I was seriously thinking about it. I was like, well, what if, I go back into the military and become an officer, and that would be even better. And anyway, just I think life decided for me to not go into the officer route. And so, because I was already out at 2 years at that point, so I wasn't too far out to where if I got back in, it wouldn't be too much. But I think my relationship with this gentleman at the time was really serious, and he had joined the Army National Guard, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just continue my life, become a nurse, and practice nursing. And we eventually got married and had a baby girl, and within 2 years of us being married, our baby girl, she was 10 months at the time. Because he was in the Army National Guard, and he was actually deployed for a little bit, he got diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer.
Oh my God.
Within 2 years of us being married. So here, this huge life curveball comes at us, and he, at the age of 25, which was unheard of,
Oh, wow.
because
Yeah.
usually like colon cancer is in 50 plus years. It's a lifestyle type of cancer, not so much of a young cancer. So that came into our world and turned everything upside down. Our daughter was 10 months old. We have stage 4 colon cancer. We just bought a new house. Here I am in like this new, it's like a lot. Life was intense. And so we started our cancer battle for 5 years. And unfortunately lost him to cancer in 2017. It was definitely life-changing at that point. Lots of things kind of shifted in my world, like, what do I want to do, and things like that too. And so during that 5-year journey with him, the thought was, how can I be there for my family more? How can I still provide an income and things like that too? And that's kind of how coaching found me, because I still love helping people. I mean, it's my passion to be of service and to help. And coaching kind of found me in that realm. So when I understood what coaching was, that's where light bulbs went off and it resonated for me. And I was like, okay, this is the next thing I need to do. I need to, be there for my daughter more. And that kind of started my journey to where I'm here talking to you, and really kind of focused on coaching.
So many times when I talk to veterans like yourself, they have transitioned a couple times because they had to, but during the time of transition, things find them, not because they were looking for them, like you said, but because they were ready to do the opportunity. And so was there an aspect where, okay, I'm not really interested or not really called to do nursing anymore. I because of my experience, I'm able to offer this to people as a service, build a different kind of life, and still feel like I'm being, true to myself.
Yeah, definitely. I think all of my experiences kind of just build on each other to get to this point. And I feel like that applies to anybody who's in any transition. Like when you tap into the skills that you've learned or the experiences, you would have no idea that it would lead you to like a point in your life. You're like, okay, now I can go back and see, okay, this was all preparing me for this moment or this opportunity. And I feel like my experiences in the Navy, my experiences in the medical field, being a nurse, working intense hours, being there, with my late husband during his struggle, and really just learning more about life and how I can be a person, a better person, definitely has led me to like, okay, how can I use what I've learned and experienced and help others if they're in a similar situation? This is what helped me, and here I can, help you and share with you what I've learned or what I've experienced or, what I've gained. So.
And have you been doing this since like 2018-ish, 2019, being, Judy Skilling, the business coach?
So I became certified with high performance coaching. I became a certified high performance coach in the fall of 2018. Well, I
Okay.
was still a full-time nurse and kind of just did it on the side, tapping my toe in the water, kind of feeling it out, like, and things like that too. I knew it was for me. It just wasn't ready yet, like mentally
Yeah.
and emotionally and things like that. But it wasn't until earlier this year where I was just like, I'm doing it. I'm going full time. Like when it comes to that make or break time, and people who have a full time income and they decide to pursue their side hustle into more of like a full time business, requires like a huge leap of faith. Like you're jumping off that deep end. You're like, I hope I can swim, but I think the skills and my faith in my skills and the faith that I know that I have something to provide pushes me every single day. Like I know that I'm here to do this. That pushes me, and that's what keeps me going. So when I made the transition, it was like, I'm doing this. I'm going out there.
Now, help me understand something here, Judy. When you say high performance, is that like a system, or is that something you've developed, or what does high performance mean?
Awesome. I'm so glad you asked that question, Travis. So, because a lot of people like have their own internal interpretation or definition of what high performance is. And so when I became certified through the high performance, it's through the High Performance Institute. The world leader in high performance, which is Brendan Burchard, he
Okay.
created this high performance institute. And this is something that he studied in his numerous years of being a high performance coach. And he wanted to understand what these people who are high performers, like Olympians or like, Fortune 100, 500 CEOs, people who are like the top of their game, what habits, thought process, skills, techniques, what do they do that the rest of the population might not know or doesn't really have? And so he did lots of research studies, coaching sessions, lots of surveys, and he really kind of boiled down to 6 specific habits that high performers utilize in order to get them to that level. And so really what high performance is, it's the living that's you're consistently performing above the standard norm over the long term while you're maintaining well-being, like positive well-being and positive relationships. And so that's essentially what high performance is where you're consistently performing above the standard norm over the long term, and you're not burning yourself out. You're not driving yourself crazy. You're taking care of your health. You're not burning bridges in relationships. You're nurturing and having positive relationships. And so people who are on that level, they're more engaged, they're joyful, they're more confident, and they're really just grabbing life, and they're like, I'm doing this, and they just go full force. And you can tell because they have so much passion and enthusiasm about the work that they do and the difference that they're making in the world based, from the work that they're doing in the world. So they have more purpose, they have more drive, they have more engagement, more confidence, especially. So
one of the things that comes to mind is a lot of times you read, on many different places, LinkedIn, Instagram, or social media, where if you're not grinding 18 hours a day and not sleeping 3 hours a day, you're a loser.
yeah,
And
if you're not hustling,
you're always be repping, always be hustling, always be
yeah,
working. You're saying that a key component to your success is taking care of you, the engine, first. You can
exactly.
perform better.
Yeah, because I mean, we have seen people, work really hard. We crash and we burn, and then you work really, really hard to gain that momentum again, and then you crash and you burn. You kind of go like through this pendulum or like this up and down, and it's not good for your health. It's not good for your well-being. It's not good for your relationships when everything else is on the back burner and you're like grinding 20 hours a day and drinking lots of caffeine just to get things through. This is a different perspective to where if you are able to implement habits and shift your mindset and focus on yourself and you use your time appropriately and you are able to be more focused and you have the energy without like the 10 cups of coffee to fuel you, you're able to achieve more, and you're able to, take care of yourself and rest more. And you have that energy, and you have that fine balance of nurturing yourself, giving yourself the self-care, being with your friends and family to replenish you so that you can do your work with more, more focus and more productivity, and you can put out more and create more. And so it's that healthy work-life balance that we all strive to achieve, so that we are bringing out our best version of ourselves.
So one of the things I want to, kind of understand, and maybe the system speaks to this, is a lot of people I talk to, and sometimes myself, I don't do this a lot anymore, for better or worse, but I know a lot of people who tell me I should be focused on perfection, perfection, perfection at all costs. And I'll tell you how I feel about it, and my experience with it, but I kind of want to know, do you think perfection is an attainable goal, or can it be a trap?
I think it's an illusion, really.
Really?
Because there's people who are high performers. They attain, they want excellence. They want the best of the best. They want to, they, put on themselves high expectations. Like, no, this is what I expect of myself. And this is, so sometimes we might set really, really high, unattainable achievements or expectations. And when we fall short of that, then that's when they're like, see, I knew you couldn't do it. Who do you think you are? Why would you even shoot for such an unattainable goal? You're a failure, and all that negative mindset talk that sometimes we give ourselves when we don't achieve such a really high goal. And when we talk about perfection, there's not really a perfection. It's about, what are you doing to attain that level of that goal that you've set for yourself? Even if you don't achieve it, you're better off than you started, you're way better off than when you started before. And then when you've gotten to that level, you're like, okay, this is what I've achieved. Rock on. That's awesome. Great. How can I get better? How can I get better? How can I get better? And it's that continuous improvement of like, okay, tweaking and changing and shifting, like, okay, this didn't work, that didn't work, this worked great, let's do more of that. So when you're talking about perfection, it looks different for everybody, but when we're talking about perfection, it's like, well, what can I do to at least get something that maybe isn't perfection, but it could help somebody, And I think when we try to do perfection, we're depriving others of what it is that we want to give, because we're so, like, I don't want to say self-centered, but we're so obsessed with, no, it has to be absolutely right. And the more that we hold on to it to make sure it's perfected, we're depriving others of that need, of that service, or that gift that we have. I can tell you, like, I've written and done things, and I'm like, well, this isn't that great, but I'll put it out there anyway, and we'll see what happens. And I think that is the most, because then you can tweak it and shape, and change it and shift it, and to make sure that it's like, okay, I'm happy with this. I'm content with it. It might not be perfection, but it's great for what it is right now. And we move, and you move on to the next thing.
Awesome. I'm not as, folks, that's not as eloquent as I'm going to put it, but for me personally, Judy, it's the old saying, an imperfect plan executed now is better than a perfect one later. And I think so many aspects of life and business are about the now, and that instant connection with your customer, your people who are supporting you, that you can't lose the now. So you have the system. You've been working the system for almost 2 years, a little over 2 years now. When someone approaches you and says, Judy, I need help to move either myself or my business forward, what's your thought process to assess them, to see where the needs are? How's that work for you, and how do your clients respond generally to how you help them?
So usually we just have that conversation. Sometimes I can offer a session just to help them gain some insights of what is clear for them. When you give somebody that space to voice their thoughts out loud, and you ask them provoking questions, give them that opportunity, then things kind of just happen in their mind, like, oh yeah, I didn't think about, well, that's a good idea, and that's a good idea. And just, you can see things working, which I absolutely love. When I ask a question to a client, I'm like, well, what about this or anything else? And for them to come up with their own solutions that they've had the whole time, and they just needed to like speak it to somebody, and to be that space for them is really amazing. And the results that I've seen in the clients that I've worked with, and I absolutely love working with military and veteran people, because this process resonates so strongly with what we've learned in the military, and how we're always geared and groomed when we are in the military to always get better, to always rank advance, to always, and excuse me. And so this program complements, I feel, what we've learned in the military, where you're always getting better and you're always, striving for the next thing. And so some of the feedback and the experiences that I've gotten have been good and bad. Bad in a good way.
Okay.
Bad in a good way, because, when I ask questions that could be challenging, or they could be really personal, or they could be really like, I'm pushing you here a little bit out of your comfort zone, and you're not going to like that. But I do it out of love. I do it out of encouragement. And I do it out of like, because you can do it. You just, I'm giving you permission, or whatever the reason that they keep telling themselves that they don't want to. And so, so some of the results have been amazing.
What do you say to the person who says, I really don't need coaching? I mean, that's for losers and people who, can't figure it out for themselves. I think I know why you need coaching. I need coaching for things that I do, but there is that aspect. I'm asking you because the challenge I see for you and others in this space is you can't really show somebody a product of what you do. So you've got to articulate it in a way that makes sense. So how do you get around that? Or not really get around it, but how do you smash that and say, well, here's the value I provide. Here's what the system does.
That's a great question. And either people are familiar with coaching or they're not familiar with coaching. I think in this marketplace right now, it is a growing career. It is starting to rise, and it wasn't as evident or prominent as it is now. It was like 20 years ago, where you're like, I don't even know what coaching is. And even then it was for people who were, executive levels, high type of administration levels, where they saw that. And I feel like in this society now, in this time age, coaching is starting to become more of a societal norm. Just like, hey, I'm going to go see my therapist, or like, I got my coaching meeting this afternoon. I don't try to convince somebody if they need coaching. That's not what I do. I tell them, hey, if you struggle in any of these areas, I could help you. But I'm not going to sit here and convince you and twist your arm and be like, you got to do coaching. I'm like, you know what? Hey, this is what I can help you with. If you're struggling in these areas, let's have a talk. If it resonates with you, great. If not, that's fine too. And how can I still support? How can I still support you? How can I still make sure that you're on your way? And especially with veterans and military, I've noticed that we have a hard time asking for help.
Yes.
And so when we ask for help, especially in the area of coaching, it makes us feel like, we're weak, or we're defeated, or, it diminishes our confidence, or, all those different things that might be running through somebody's mind when they feel like they need to have coaching or have help. But I'm here to reassure you, like, coaching is not therapy. What I do in my coaching programs and how I guide people is like, you're here, we want to get you there. I'm just going to guide you there. And then you can still use the same things that I'm teaching you, that I'm guiding you in, that you're going to learn again and again and again. So like, once you learn, these habits and these skills, you can use them over and over again. I like that is a lifetime change, not so much of a Band-Aid change, if that makes sense. And so when somebody's like, I see what you do, I'm just not too sure, I'm kind of on the fence, I'm not really understanding what coaching is, then that's a time for me to educate, but I don't really convince, if that makes sense.
So you're not trying to give me a hard sell. It's just what you said. You're at point A. There's point B somewhere there, and here are some proven practices, processes, and things that work based on the high performance system. Well,
Exactly.
time is flying by.
I know.
Judy, please tell me you'll come back on. But I want to understand this personally. This is your professional, career now. This is, there's a lot of goals here that you're doing this. You're going to have misses. You're going to have people that kind of, don't follow the program. But what I'm curious about is what's it like to you when one of your clients has done the hard, brutal work to change themselves, and all of a sudden they're not going to point B. We're at point J, we're at point L. What's that feel like to you when you start seeing the light bulbs go on and the train going down the track of their journey to what they're trying to do? What's that like for you?
Even just you asking me that question gets me really emotional. Just because, like, and the reason why it gets me emotional is like, to just even have a hand in their ripple effect is powerful. I mean, it is immensely powerful. For some person to be able to work with me and walk away completely changing their life and changing the lives of those around them in a way that is positive and uplifting, um, they have changed, like, their dynamic, who they are as a person, like, forever. And it's just incredibly honoring and humbled to like see that and witness that, and to still like cheer them on and just be like, I know that you could do this. And it's so it just, even you saying that, I'm sorry, it just got really like
No, that's why
really
I asked.
emotional.
That's why I
And
asked, because again, I can't hold in your hand like someone made me this cup, right? I can hold that in my hand and talk about it, but I can't hold in my hand what you do. So I'm like, okay, wait a minute. In anything you do, there's going to be success and failure. We can talk about failure another time, or understand that it's going to be part of the process. But you work hard to get somebody to believe themselves. And if it's like being in the military, when there's that hill and it's like, wait a minute, you want me to go, you want to do what?
with 20
What's
pounds on
that
my
like?
back, what?
Yeah, what's that like, Judy, when someone says, okay, I don't understand all this, I'm in pain, I'm not comfortable, I'm vulnerable, but I'm going to take these steps, and you are watching them crest that hill. I mean, that to me is really has to be the special part of it. And you just really, this has been an amazing experience, getting to hear you talk about that.
Yeah. And it's I mean, there is a sense of pride, but it's not so much me in the physical form. I feel that, like, why I'm a very spiritual and religious person, so I know that this, when I work with clients, and to connect with them in a spiritual sense, and to see that type of result that somebody is able to generate for themselves, is like, you rock, like, you did it, and I knew you could do it.
Yes.
And you are so awesome, and I can't wait to see what else you do in this world. And
And there is a ripple effect, right? I mean,
it's
really, I mean, it has to ripple out in
it
different.
does. And
Awesome.
just even small tweaks and small changes they chose to take on changes their life forever. And that is just, when you think on it on like a grand scale, you're like, I'm so humbled and grateful for this work. Love
Well,
it.
how do people get in contact with you? Do you have a website or social media handles that they can find you? I definitely want to make sure that I have them all in the show post. And as we're, doing this, you'll see them at the bottom of the screen. How do people get in contact with you?
Yeah, so they can find me at judyskilling.com. Pretty
Okay.
simple.
All right.
judyskilling.com. I'm also on Facebook, and LinkedIn. And those are the two places where I love to hang out and just connect with people and talk and encourage others. I'm also on my website. You can also find other things that I've gotten published, as well as my free ebook that is for anybody who's listening, which is an amazing ebook. And that's where people can find me, is my website, judyskilling.com, and Facebook and LinkedIn, Judy Skilling.
Well, Judy, I mean, I don't say this very often, but this went by way too fast. I mean, we didn't even scratch the surface on the high performance system, or even, use cases about, how the system works and how you apply it. I mean, there's a whole rabbit hole we need to go down, but I really, really enjoyed getting to have you on the show.
Oh, it's been awesome. I just love talking to you, Travis. You're amazing.
Well, I love this. This is the best part about doing this. So I hope, folks, it sounds like she's going to come back on, which is a win. Yes.
I would be honored, Travis, to have another conversation with you.
Absolutely. This is the best part about doing this. And I think, we're in 2021 now. It's actually 2020 that we're recording this, but this is going to drop in 2021. And people are coming out of this COVID-19 thing, and they need what you're providing. And I think it's going to be awesome. Judy Skilling, Navy veteran, nurse, high performance business coach, someone who's going to, give you the tough love and the encouragement you need when you need it. JudySkilling.com, correct?
Yes, JudySkilling.com.
Well, again, thank you for coming on. We go from being in action to in flight and hawk. So with that being said, this is Travis. I'm with Judy Skilling, with Judy Skilling and High Performance Coaching. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Travis.